I'll be going through a list of syllabus and next. So steps to becoming an EmGuarde master. So basically this technology is pretty straightforward and there is no rocket science behind. Everything is proven, is patented, and all you need to learn is to learn some of the key explanation points in order for you to be confident before you speak to your prospects or customers. Okay, so basically the first topic that we are going through, it's back to basic. Okay, we need to know how to talk to your people in regards to what EmGuarde's function is, how does it work scientifically, and what is the benefit that EmGuarde can bring to your customers, okay, when they bought this machine. Okay, after that, we're going to go through a common questions asked from customers. I'm going to educate you on how to handle two of the most common questions asked by the public so that you can answer these questions confidently, and followed by some installation experiences and demonstration experiences. So these are some of the experiences that we'll be sharing. So in order for you to sidestep some of these mistakes when you do demo at your customer's house. Okay, and finally, we're going to conclude the session by also sharing with you some documentations. And of course, we're still waiting for Enagic's approval to share some of the hard copies. And please be patient, and we'll arrange the documents accordingly when it's available. Okay, so let's begin with the first topic, back to basic. Now, number one, what is EmGuarde's function? Okay, so in the correct way to answer this, because a lot of people, they said, oh, EmGuarde is to clear all the radiation in the world. That's wrong. Okay, because in terms of radiation, there are many different categories and spectrums as well. So to be specific, the answer is EmGuarde's function is to suppress EM radiation from 3 megahertz to 1000 megahertz. So these are the key points you have to write down, okay, very clearly. So it's to suppress radiation anything between 3 megahertz to 1000 megahertz. Okay. So the next question is, so people will ask, so 3 megahertz to 1000 megahertz is a frequency spectrum, I understand, but which frequency designation? Okay. So if you look at the table, if you look at this table, all right, notice that 3 megahertz to 1000 megahertz is actually between the high frequency designation. Okay, so between 3 megahertz to 30, it's categorized as high frequency. 30 megahertz to 300 megahertz is categorized under very high frequency. And 300 megahertz to 1 gig, it's actually ultra high frequency. So it's within the high frequency spectrum. So far, so good. Is everyone getting the points up so far? All good? Okay. Now, let's proceed. So the next thing is, people ask, so this so-called high frequency that EmGuarde is able to sort of like alleviate, okay, these high frequencies. So this high frequency spectrum, it actually falls under which electromagnetic spectrum in terms of radiation? Because we cannot say that, EmGuarde has ability to clear off all the radiation. So if you look at the next chart, now this chart will explain clearly, and for you to answer a perfect answer to your customers, EmGuarde is actually clearing the EM radiation within the non-ionizing spectrum. Okay, if you look towards the blue color area, which is the blue arrow, the non-ionizing spectrum is what EmGuarde is capable of clearing. And if you look at the chart, right, there's two red arrows. Okay, the two red arrows. So this is the exact spectrum that EmGuarde is capable of doing, which is within the radio and the cell phone category. Okay, it's that spectrum. Now, as for the orange color, if you notice, it's called ionizing radiation. Okay, so this spectrum, we call ionizing radiation spectrum. Now, these are the spectrums which we are not interfering because it's way too beyond. It's beyond EmGuarde's efficacy. Okay, and this spectrum, right, when someone exposed to this ionizing spectrum, it's just too late. Okay, it can't help. Okay, it's just too late because this spectrum has got so much energy that it actually breaks your DNA bonds immediately. Okay, so all this radiation you can actually get from this nuclear plant, you know, and gamma rays, the X-rays and all that. So these are the ionizing spectrum. So this is not where EmGuarde is capable of. So I repeat, EmGuarde, okay, to answer a complete question, when someone asks you, what is EmGuarde's function or what is EmGuarde's capability? EmGuarde, it's able to suppress the EM radiation between 3 megahertz to 1000 megahertz under the non-ionizing radiation spectrum. So this is the perfect answer for you to your customer. I repeat, EmGuarde, it's able to suppress EM radiation between 3 megahertz to 1000 megahertz under the non-ionizing radiation spectrum. Okay, so this is the full answer for answering this question. Now, the next one. So what is RD9100 measuring? So RD9100, for those who are new here, this is actually a detector which we recommend. And this particular detector is very different from the other detectors out there. Later on, we'll be showing you videos through the Zoom as well. And also for those people who are in the office, we'll be having live video sharing, you know, from the screen. So this particular detector is actually measuring high frequency electromagnetic noise. Okay, it's actually used to measure the noise, and it actually converts the noise wave into a power density reading, and it is known as microwatts. So microwatts is actually the power density of the radiation. So when people ask you, when you use the detector, okay, so I'm hearing feedback from testing 1, 2, 3. Okay, all good, all good, all good. So microwatts is actually the measurement unit for this particular detector. So when people ask you, oh, when the detector beeps, beep, 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 what's the figure on the LCD screen? Okay, so the figures on the LCD screen shows you the reading in microwatts, and microwatts is actually the power density of electromagnetic radiation reading. Okay, so let's go through a simple video, and in this video, it will explain to you fully what Audi is actually measuring. And let's discuss further after viewing this video.
Demo, what I have here is a conventional about what I mean by this detector is only measuring the magnetic from the current rather than radiation from the light. Now, as I turn on the switch, as you can see, the detector is actually picking up about 300 power density reading from the target itself. Okay. Now, when I turn on the RD9100, you can see, obviously, after I go around the top, then go in, you can see, and after shows the reading 0. Okay, then I'm not picking up any radiation. Now, what we do next is to switch this light bulb into the LED light bulb. This is LED saving. And this is supposed to radiate more radiation compared to conventional filament light bulb. Let me show you what I mean. So usually the LED light bulb is a bit more glaring. And as I turn it on, so you can see it refine. Some of the detector is also picking up reading from the light bulb. And no difference. And for RD, earlier on during the global conference, there is no meeting for this one. Reading of about 1. That represents 2000 microwatts. This was overloading.
All right, gentlemen. So from this simple video, you got to understand that the other detectors out there, they're actually either picking up readings, from the power line, and some other detectors, they're actually picking up signal strength from the antennas. And for this particular detector, Audi is actually measuring the radiation radiates out from the source itself. So from this simple demonstration, you can know that when we do a simple experiment using the LED filament light bulb, and when there is no external radiation or noise radiates out from the light bulb, Audi is not picking up any reading. And in comparison, when we switch the LED filament light bulb into the white LED light bulb, which generate a lot of electromagnetic noise. Okay, so as you can see, the Audi is actually picking up energy reading and converts it into microwatts. And this is how you get the reading from the Audi, okay, from the LED itself. So following, we have another video to show you, how come, Audi is picking up reading from the LED light bulbs, and we have another software to show you how the radiation looks like, on a spectrum format. Okay, now for now, let's proceed with the slides. Okay, so the next question is, how does EmGuarde work? So some customers, they are very smart, intelligent, and they went through universities, and some of them they could be engineers. So they might want to ask you, like some people, they ask you, how does Enagic machine produce Kangen water? So you need to know a bit of the science behind, you need to know what's electrolysis, you need to know what's the water's mineral content. So in order for the water to split into two, so all this scientific knowledge, I mean, we need to use all this to explain to the customers. For EmGuarde, it's the same as well. So how does it work? It's pretty simple. Okay, now a typical EM radiation source comes from a handphone like this, and it travels to you, okay, through a waveform. So all these waveform, it could be in the terms of noise, sound wave frequencies. Now I'd like to invite my colleague to do a live demonstration in front of the office by showing you a very simple measurement using the RD, and when he turns on a YouTube video using the handphone. Okay, let's welcome Ben and Ming to the front. This simple explanation will explain to you clearly, how energy from the phone itself, which is source, travels out if there is an influence of sound wave, noise, or frequencies. So we will allow Ming to explain the entire demonstration.
Okay, guys. So now we are using this RD detector. We try to scan the phone first. Okay, just a moment. EmGuarde is turning on. Okay, turn off EmGuarde. Okay, let's see from the detector. Okay, the phone itself, there's radiation emits out. Then, okay, when Ben, no, okay, so when Ben take it like that, I put the detector here, and then okay, when Ben play the video, with the sound you see directly, the EM radiation will move all the way to his arm. Can you see? Then when Ben pause the video that time, straight away back to 0. So let's do a testing again. Try to play the video again and you can see. Can you see? How about the zoom? The reading is about anywhere somewhere around 1000 to 1005.
Okay, guys, do another repeat demonstration closer to the camera so that everyone from the Zoom can actually view it.
All right.
Just do one for the room first, so everyone gets that from the room, then come back to the get closer to the camera. Yeah.
Okay. So we'll do a Zoom members. We'll do one demonstration for you to see. Okay, now.
Okay.
Ben are holding the video, holding the phone like that, and when Ben turn the video on, you can see the detector start reading. Due to the EM radiation flow from his phone all the way to his arm. So when we stop the video, you can see directly the detector gone back to 0. So you do a test again, you play again, and you can see directly the radiation detector is capturing up the figure where there's a sound.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
I wish I knew this a week ago. I would have sold 30 already.
Yes.
It's all a learning process.
Okay, David, back to you.
Thank you, Ming and Ben. Now, this simple demonstration is there to explain to you that energy of radiation from the phone's battery actually travels to your inner wrist or to your arm when there is an exposure to sound wave, or frequencies created by your handphone speaker. So it brings the energy all the way to your inner wrist. So this is how energy travels. Okay. So now everything makes sense as I explain how it works. So based on the slide, let's go back to the slide from the screen. So the energy travels like this, and EmGuarde, first of all, it analyzes, those frequencies within 4-meter radius, and then EmGuarde has ability to send out a series of cancellation frequencies, and these cancellation frequencies is made, to deconstruct the pathway of these frequencies to stop the energy from getting to you from the source itself. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. It will make more sense. So this is the comparison before and after. Okay, so in short, harmonic frequencies, also known as cancellation frequencies, have opposing amplitude to their corresponding radiation frequencies in the air. They suppress each other or cancel each other out together. Okay, so they are using the constructive manner to neutralize the frequencies, and therefore the radiation power would not travel to you from the radiation source. It's either the electrical appliances or electronic appliances. Now, the next laboratory graph will show you exactly how it looks like from a laboratory test. Okay, now for those who are not scientific, please bear with me. This is actually a lab graph shown before and after turning on the technology. Okay, so this graph is actually a string of frequencies, anything from 30 megahertz from the left all the way to 1000 megahertz to the right. If you notice, the frequency pattern, it's continuous. Okay, now when the lab engineer turn on the technology, this is what happens on the next graph. If you notice, the original graph, which is a string of frequencies going across continuous, now has been chopped and discontinued, and you don't see any continuation of frequencies in between. Okay, so the next slide will give everyone a clearer perspective that this is the before on the top and the after on the bottom. Okay, so before you turn on the technology, you can actually see that the radiation carrier from the frequencies is consistent. And when you turn on the EmGuarde, it breaks into several small little panels, and there is a discontinuation of the frequencies. Okay. So for those guys out there who is asking the same question, besides showing this laboratory test and also using the RD9100 to show you that how it actually suppress the power, is there any way that we can show you how EmGuarde works using another third-party software? So the next video explanation will explain to you that when we use this third-party software, we are able to show that EmGuarde can effectively alleviate the radiation produced by the LED light bulbs we shown earlier. Remember, guys, earlier on, I was showing you a video on how the detector actually tests the filament LED filament and also the LED light bulbs. So the next video is going to show you how EmGuarde actually eliminates the radiation from the white LED light bulb. Okay, take a look at the video.
Therefore, in this section of the video, I will show you how the EmGuarde technology has the ability to alleviate the toxic radiation created by the 70 light bulb and can actually control from software-defined radio frequency factor. Okay, now before I move on the EmGuarde to the box, let me just review this on the spectrum of NDR. Okay, now when I turn on the LED light bulb, you can see obviously the wave line from the noise field comes there. Okay, now with the power on the EmGuarde of the pump, this. As I remove the power source of the EmGuarde, radiation reading picking up from the EmGuarde immediately presents to the EmGuarde screen. Therefore, I'm going to the context of bringing you by the way, powering up the EmGuarde again. So the power of the EmGuarde technology alleviates the unnecessary radiation reading based on a simple software-defined radio experiment.
Okay, so this is actually an alternative method to show you how EmGuarde actually works, through a third-party software, and you can actually visualize it when you turn on the EmGuarde, and when the LED produces all this noise spectrum from the software, this is how it actually clear it off, when you turn on the EmGuarde, okay, within a 4-meter radius. All right, so now the next question, this is actually the final question to end the back to basic training. So now you know how it works. You have video to explain to your customers how it actually works, in terms of scientifically. Then your customer will ask you the final question. So what actually is the benefit of EmGuarde? When someone purchase at this price, 6,620. So what's the benefit that it can give to your customer? So the next slide will actually explain to you the benefit. We abstract everything out from the next slide, based on our patents report. So it's actually coming from the patent. Now in our patent, Dr. Magda Havers is again mentioned in the patent, and our engineers is actually following Dr. Magda Havers' discovery to build out this technology so that it can actually resolve Dr. Magda's theory when it comes to radiation, or what radiation can do to your red blood cell. Okay, so let me go through with you this amazing materials, and you can actually use this for your sales process when you talk to your customers. Dr. Magda Havers is a Canadian researcher, and she discovered a shocking truth and what happened to your red blood cell when it is exposed to a high electromagnetic radiation environment. Okay. Now, according to her research, after using 70 minutes of a desktop computer, our red blood cell went into a Rouleaux formation, and you can see the red blood cell actually sticks together. So it's like stacking up. Okay. Now, towards the right-hand side, as you can see, when she used the mobile phone for about 10 minutes, the Rouleaux formation went into a critical condition. And according to her, she said that this is normally what she sees in her cancer patient's blood. Okay. She called it a critical Rouleaux formation. So now this formation will lead to symptoms like poor circulation and low oxygen transport to the cell, the highlighted yellow words. Okay. So now the engineers wanted to build a technology where they can actually suppress the EMR, and therefore we can actually be freed from the low oxygen transport or poor circulation. That is why the next slide, this is the exact abstract written in our patent. Okay, this is actually in our patent. Okay, so EmGuarde actually helps improving microcirculation. Notice the keyword here, improving microcirculation. Okay, so this is the benefit of EmGuarde. By suppressing and cancelling the negative effects of electromagnetic radiation from cellular phones and computers connected to wireless networks. Okay, so this is what is written in the patent. And so happened that we got a screenshot from the exact wording from the patent. And I would like to share with our dear Enagic family on what is the exact statement wrote on the patent statement. Okay, next slide. Okay, I want all of you here to follow me line by line so that we can actually go through this in a proper manner. Now, the first sentence, the beneficial effects of the apparatus according to the embodiment of the present invention, which refers to the EmGuarde technology, is recorded by a blood flow measuring device. Okay, now, so the device measures the microcirculation of the test subject's finger when the subject is first subject to electromagnetic radiation via a cell phone, and then the electromagnetic radiation effect of the cell phone is suppressed using the apparatus according to the embodiment of the present invention. You know, all this patent thing, they use embodiment, they use apparatus. So when you hear apparatus, they are referring to this technology, which is the EmGuarde technology. Okay. Now I want you to stay focused and let's move your eyes to the next line. As can be seen in the graph, the initial microcirculation rate of the test subject finger is 6.13 centimeter per second. Okay, so this is the first test. When he's not exposed to the cell phone, this is the first microcirculation measurement. Okay. Now, when the test subject makes contact with a cellular phone, at time marker 2, the test subject microcirculation drops to 2.55 centimeter per second. So as you can see, this actually proves that what Dr. McDuff discovered, which is the Rouleaux formation in a high EMR environment, is true. So whenever we're exposed to handphones and stuff like that, you know, when there is high EMR environment, your circulation actually slows down. And in this test, it brings down to 2.55. And after the apparatus is turned on at time marker 303, the measuring device detects a spike in microcirculation. These are all the readings, okay, towards the last line, and eventually stabilizes at 26.6 cm per centimeter. Okay, cm per second. All right. Now, the main point of this patent screenshot is actually at the last paragraph. I would like all of you to focus on the last paragraph. Okay. So the last paragraph says that it can therefore be summarized that the invention can effectively suppress the negative effects of electromagnetic radiation on microcirculation from either handheld cellular device or computer connected to wireless network. Okay, so this is a confirmation from the patents organization. We need to send all this tests into the lab for them to verify and in order for them to grant this technology the patent rights. Okay, so this entire patent rights explains the next finding from a medical doctor in Taiwan. Okay, so besides the patent, we also have another renowned medical doctor in Taiwan. His name is Dr. Liu Renjie. It's an ophthalmology eye doctor. Okay, so what this doctor did was he actually took 10 of his eye patient, real life patient. Okay, so 10 of his eye patient, and all of his eye patient is suffering from some eye disease. Most of them is actually dry eye disease, and people develop dry disease from staring at the screen, computer screen or mobile phone for long hours. Okay, so based on Dr. Liu Renjie's clinical tests on this EmGuarde's technology, he shockingly found that this technology has ability to help improve the microcirculation for his patient's eyeball. Okay, for his patient's eyeball. So let me bring you through the test one by one. Okay, focus on the red circle, starting from the left. The first test, Dr. Liu Renjie put 10 of his patients on the same condition, and he actually did a scan using a special equipment in his laboratory. And he found out that the average flow rate for the eyeball circulation, okay, which is the blood flow, is at 9.83 centimeter per second. So this is actually the flow rate for the red blood cells in the eyeball's microcirculation veins. Okay, now towards the middle, Dr. Liu Renjie actually asked his 10 patients, all of them, to hold on to a handphone and stare at the screen for 30 minutes. And shockingly, he found out that the microcirculation drops from 9.83 to an average of 5.67 centimeter per second. So again, Dr. Liu Renjie reconfirms that Dr. McDuff's discovery is correct. Whenever we are exposed to a high EMI environment, our red blood cell circulation speed goes down drastically. Okay, now let's focus on the third finding, which is the right side, the third circle. So when Dr. Liu Renjie turns on the EmGuarde technology, it eliminates the EM radiation below 1 gigahertz. So this is what's mentioned in the Chinese word. Okay, so it eliminates below 1 gigahertz. And surprisingly, he found out that all of his patients, the 10 clinical patients, the eyeball microcirculation has got a vast improvement, and it actually went up to 11.49 centimeter per second in average. It is even better as compared to the first test before the technology was turned on. Okay, so this entire clinical test summarizes the patent's finding and also Dr. McDuff's concern on the Rouleaux formation caused by the high EML environment. So now, let me give you a quick summary. So to conclude the entire first subject, which is back to basic, when a customer asks us, what's the function of EmGuarde? How does it work? And what's the benefit of EmGuarde? To answer in a very simple manner, EmGuarde has the ability to suppress EM radiation between 3 megahertz to 1000 megahertz under the non-ionizing spectrum. And the benefit of EmGuarde is that EmGuarde has the ability to help improve the microcirculation blood flow by suppressing the negative effects of the EM radiation. So that's the benefit. So the function is to suppress the radiation, of course, and the benefit is to help improve the microcirculation in our body. So that's the benefit for EmGuarde. Okay, so far so good. It's everyone in the room still with me?
Yes.
Staying alert? Show of hands? All right, very good. What about our friends in the Zoom? Maybe you can just Show me some signs in the Zoom. Okay, everyone get value? All right, I can see yes from Shenlin, from Lee Cheng. Thank you very much for all your responses. Erika, yes, very good. All right, so this is actually the gist. It's very simple, straightforward, no rocket science, and this is how you should explain to your customers. Okay, from function all the way to benefit. It's that simple, and everything is documented. It's proven. It's not just hearsay and story. Everything is documented. Okay, now let's move on to the next section. Commonly asked questions from customers. Okay, so over here, I've actually designed a list of questions and answers, and everything is written point by point. I'm not going to go through one by one because some of these questions and answers, you can actually learn it, during your own me time. Okay, so I'm going to skip some of the question. Just fast forward the slide. Just go carry on. Fast forward the slide. I'm going to just fast forward to the questions which I feel it is important for me to emphasize and to educate everyone so that you can have a better answer to your customers. The rest is very simple. I've already wrote down all the answers there. You can go through one by one and it's pretty straightforward. Okay. Now let's go to question 2J. Why do we suggest using RD9100 instead of other detectors in the market? So people will ask you questions. How come are we using this particular detector rather than other detectors out there? Okay. Now, to put everyone into perspective in a simple manner, the cheaper detectors out there, they are used to measure different things. For example, some detectors, they act like a test pen. As long as there is electric current or electricity passing through the appliances, you can detect power, energy, okay? So the reading pops up. And some detectors, they are built to only detect signal strength from the antenna. For example, from your phone antenna or from your Wi-Fi antenna. So this is how they pick up readings. So all these detectors, they are inappropriate for you to use as your EmGuarde demo. Because EmGuarde is a special technology, it's innovative, and you need to use the RD because RD is actually measuring high frequency noise. Okay, so in the following video, I compile the demonstration by using all the different detectors in the market. And in this video itself, you have more clarity. Okay, let's view the video together before we discuss further.
Okay, so in this section of the video, I'll show you differentiation of different detectors available in the market and these detectors for volume, unit, it's saying electromagnetic radiation detector, but when you put this meter on, you can't even detect the radiation from the full screen. So this doesn't work because this detector is only used to measure the low frequency radiation the house is. Now, electromagnetic fields and some detectors we found that this detector is only good at reading the signal coming in from the force field of the wire. Let me show you what I mean. Let me create a meter here, and I will put this meter below the level. Okay, program there you go. So now the detector is responding to the data received from the UV result. Now, actually, the return this fall into the X-ray mode. Terminate the Wi-Fi and it goes to the mobile data. Okay, so immediately when I'm sending to the X-ray mode, you can see you no longer receive any response from this detector. Okay, however, and food and I pop shop the X-ray mode and the detector. The detector began to respond again to the signal from the wall. Now, I strongly recommended how we now do because even if I turn the phone into the empty room, there is no data, there is no Wi-Fi, and these big radiation from the phone itself, and now the radiation is about 1,400 megawatts, about 1,500 megawatts. Okay, so in other words, Our level 0 is not picking up any signal. Say our level 0 is actually picking up the power density radiation coming from the battery of the operator in the phone itself. Now, show you another detector in the market. This detector is what we bought from the USA. It's called stump detector. And mostly this detector is able to pick up radiation from the sun. Okay. But now, that's not this meter, so you can see. Yeah, I'm just put the meter on the table. Now, the ball is on having. You can see it's also picking up radiation from the screen itself. Okay, now, the ball that is detected is picking up and responding from the active towards the battery part of the turn off the pole. They can switch off the pole now. And let me show you what I mean. Now, after that, the pole switch off. If I put the regular RV, the individual circuit is completely shut down. The output will get 0 reading terms. There is no more radiation coming from the source. It becomes probably shut off, and there is no power in the circuit itself. So everything goes back to 0. Okay, there you go. Now, but for this detector itself, all the poles reading is shut. You can pick up reading from the pole itself. Now, the reason is because detectors like this, they are picking up and sensing the metal parts from the handle. For example, now in this handle cover, there's one metal piece here. So as I put this into the metal, the detectors reacting against the metal but not the radiation. Okay. All right.
Okay, folks, don't worry because all this video will be shared to you. Okay, we're going to put all this into the library so that you guys can download the slides and all these videos, and you can actually watch it over and over again during your free time for self-learning purposes. And please don't feel confused because, you know, to compile all these materials, it takes years. And I know the first time when you're hearing this, some of you need time to digest. It's okay. Take your time to study it and watch over and over again, and you actually get, the hang of it after some time. All right. So now you understand that why are we suggesting this particular detector? Because it's actually measuring the power density from the noise rather than just the metal, or the signal from the phone when you turn on the 4G and the Wi-Fi. Okay, so it's actually measuring the power density, okay, or from the noise itself created from the PCB board of the handphone rather than the metal materials. Okay, so now the next question. The next question is going to conclude, this particular section of commonly asked question. So the next question is, customer will ask you, okay, EmGuarde can protect up to 1 gigahertz, okay, but why? Why do EmGuarde harmonizes frequencies of 1 gigahertz and below? Why not 1 gigahertz and beyond? Okay, so they will ask you this question because today we are talking about 5G technology. We're talking about Wi-Fi routers, and Wi-Fi routers operates between 2.4 gigahertz to 5 gigahertz. Okay, it's a different bandwidth. So your customer might ask you why EmGuarde protects you, and it's only below 1 gigahertz. What's the main reason? Okay, now the next 3 pages of points, it's very important. Okay, if you get this, then it will aid your selling process, and this will make a lot of sense for those people who understand this. Okay, now based on the Federal Communication Commission, this is a government body in the United States of America. Okay, now over here, the FCC states that I want you to focus on the yellow highlighted word. Okay, now it says that exposure limits are also based on data showing that the human body absorbs RF energy at some frequencies more efficiently than others. Okay, keyword. What is the keyword here? The keyword to take away is the human body absorbs radio frequency energy at some frequencies more efficiently than others. Meaning, right, there is actually a specific frequencies that your body absorbs at its greater peak, meaning at the maximum value. Okay, at the maximum value. Okay, and what's the value? Okay, if you look on the next line, the most restrictive limits occur in the frequency range between 30 to 300 megahertz. Okay, 30 to 300. So 30 to 300 megahertz falls between EmGuarde's coverage range. So earlier on during the first slide training, we are talking about EmGuarde's coverage range is between how many to how many? 3 megahertz to 1000. So if you refer back to the whiteboard, okay, Ming, can you just move over to the whiteboard and show them the same line? Okay, so between 3 megahertz to 1000 megahertz, 30 to 300, 30 megahertz to 300 megahertz falls between that range, if you notice, okay? So it is again mentioned by FCC. All right. And why 30 to 300 megahertz is considered as the most restrictive limits? Why do we absorb more radio frequency energy between this frequency? Very simple explanation. Let's move to the next slide. Okay. So according to this article, okay, it actually shows you the aggregate of the human body organ frequency. Now, from here, we discover that our human body organs operates in the frequencies between 60 to about 90 megahertz. If you notice, okay, from top to bottom, your brain frequencies operates at between 72 to 90 megahertz. Okay, your human body average at about 62 to 78, heart frequency 67 to 70, okay, pancreas and more. All right. Now, when they said, okay, when they said that, you know, the most restrictive is between 330 to 300, so this actually falls under the average body organs frequency. Okay, so it actually falls under this category. That's reason why your body is actually accepting this frequency as friendly frequency. We call it resonance. Okay, so your body is actually absorbing it at its peak between all these frequencies. The next slide will explain to you why your body will react to these frequencies more openly as compared to other frequencies. Because based on the resonance theory, when you put two tuning forks next to each other, the same frequency is going to influence another same frequencies. Okay, I will let the video do the explanation. Okay, for those people who miss out, can you replay the video again? For the benefit of those people who just missed the video, it's a short video. Let's play again. And for our Zoom mates, you can take a look again. Okay, so in this simple video explanation, this science teacher actually used two tuning forks. And if you notice, the first tuning fork is different from the second one. Okay, the first one is 500 something, then the next one is 400 something in terms of hertz. And it will not affect the ping pong ball, right? Because there is no vibration, because the frequency is different. But when you put the two same frequencies tuning fork side by side, even without touching the next tuning fork, it has the ability to vibrate the ping pong ball, okay, by just doing connections like this, airborne. All right. So now you understand that why FCC sets the frequency limits that 30 to 300 is actually the most restrictive, because these frequencies, it actually falls between the average human body organs frequency. Okay, so with that, it has ability to affect you in terms of, you know, your biological status. Some people you will feel headache, you know, some people you have this, you know, radiation sickness, you feel fatigue, cannot sleep, insomnia. So this is actually the connection, and this is what EmGuarde as a technology is trying to resolve. Okay, it's trying to help you in terms of resolving this issue by eliminating those unwanted radiation within these frequencies so that we absorb lesser. Okay, up to this point, so far so good. Is everyone getting value? All right, good. Now it's a bit technical. I hope that you can bear with me. And this is the process on how can we master this. And I mean, some of these materials, we don't have to show everything, you know, to your customers, because basically when we do marketing, we talk in the normal languages, but you need to equip yourself with all this knowledge, just in case when you bump into someone which is more technical, at least you have the correct explanation to share with these people. Okay, so up to this section, I think we're going to have a short break. And for some people who felt sleepy after a heavy lunch, you know, this is a good time for you to do a stretch, you know, do a toilet break, drink some 9.5, refresh yourself, and we will come back fresh, you know, for the second section. I'll pass the floor back to Raj.
Thank you.